Let's bring up the next topic. And the next topic today comes to us from Todd Engel, who writes, "Hey, John, I really appreciated your point of view and love the show." Well, thank you so much, Todd. My question is, with Pine and Hemsworth walking away from the negotiating table, for now at least, does this make Tarantino's Star Trek concept movie more reality moving forward? Okay, so this has been a hot topic for the last couple of days. Of course, we talked on the John Campea show the other day that in the negotiations to get Star Trek 4 going, both Chris Pine, who is Captain Kirk, and Chris Hemsworth, who is supposed to play Captain Kirk's dad, which he did in the first Star Trek movie, have both walked away from the negotiation table saying, and it's all over money. You know, Paramount said we've got to tighten up our budget a bit because these movies don't get anywhere near $1 billion. Like they make a modest amount of money, so we have to pay our talent modestly too. And Chris Pine said, well, no, I'm not taking a pay cut. And he walked. And I get that. There's no problem with that. No fault on him. No fault on Paramount trying to be financially responsible. No fault on Chris Pine saying, nah, we had an agreement, and if you're not going to pay me that much, then I'm not going to do it. I see it from both of their point of views totally. I will say this, though. Some people have been writing in the idea that, oh, well, here's the option. You know, Chris Pine's the more important one because he's Kirk. Just don't bring on Chris Hemsworth and pay Chris Pine what he wants to be paid. Problem solved. Well, here's the problem with that. If Paramount is saying, look, these Star Trek movies don't make as much as we think they should, and they're only making so much money, and we need to scale back the budget a bit, I can guarantee you Chris Pine isn't the only one being asked to take a little bit of a pay cut. I guarantee you Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana, on and on. I guarantee you, like Simon Pegg, I guarantee you the rest of the cast is also being asked to take a little bit of a pay cut to try to get the budget to within a manageable, a reasonable means. You can't now just all of a sudden go, oh, except for him, we're not going to ask him. If they do that, then all of a sudden the rest of the Star Trek cast is going to go, wait a minute, time out. I signed off on taking a little bit of a pay cut for the good of the franchise because you told me it was going to be across the board and everybody was doing it. But I just found out you're not going to make Chris, who probably makes more money on these movies than any of the rest of them, you're telling me Chris isn't taking a pay cut and he's making more than the rest of us? Well, then screw that. Then I'm not taking a pay cut. So Paramount's in a bit of a situation, right? It's going to be interesting to see how all this turns out. Now, let's get on to your question, though. Tarantino. Tarantino has a potential movie in development. Now, he's not writing it. He came up with a concept. He brought it to J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams liked the concept. He said, let's go talk to Paramount. And they all went over to go to Paramount and pitched this idea to Paramount. And Paramount said, that's not a bad idea. Paramount then went out and hired a writer. And a writer is now developing, not Quentin Tarantino, because Tarantino's a little busy on his own movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood right now. So this writer is now taking that idea and that concept that Tarantino and J.J. Abrams pitched, and he's fleshing it out now in a script to see if they can come up with something workable. There's no guarantee that they will, but that's the status that they're at. And the idea is that if they wind up with a good script and something that they think will work, that possibly Quentin Tarantino himself will direct it. Again, none of that is guaranteed, and that's where we're at right now. So, if this Star Trek 4 thing is falling apart, and if they end up not doing Star Trek 4, does that increase the chances that this Tarantino thing is going to happen? All I can do is speculate, but I'm going to say no. I honestly don't think it helps or hinders the Tarantino project whatsoever. I think Paramount has this Tarantino project, this Star Trek Tarantino project in a bubble right now. I really think it's in its own little bubble. And they've got a writer developing something with it to see if they can come up with something. But honestly, I don't think this whole thing with Pine and Hemsworth walking away and if Star Trek 4 is in trouble, I don't think that hurts Tarantino's chances. And I don't think it helps Tarantino's chances. I really don't. I don't think they're looking at it in that way. From everything I've heard, this is really kind of an isolated standalone concept, and we'll see how that all turns out. But for right now, I don't think it's going to affect Tarantino's project, either for good or for bad. Maybe you guys feel different. Jump down to the comments section. Let me know what you think and why you think it. All right, let's move on now to topic number 3.